Brooklyn Independent Television.
Welcome back to In the Zone. Vernon, Elio, recently, unfortunately, one of the greatest high school basketball coaches in the history of New York City, passed, Jack Curran, head coach of Archbishop Molloy High School.
Yeah, I mean, not only was he a great basketball coach, but a lot of people don't even know he actually was their baseball coach, and they did well in baseball for years as well. You know, it was. I remember we did a big story on him when I had the newspaper, a big centerfold on him on the baseball side. So he's a legend. And when you think of Molloy, you think of Jack Curran. I mean, that's automatic. That's how you think, and and that'll go on for years and years.
Yeah, St. Anthony's basketball coach Bob Hurley said the other day he remarked on how well Curran can go from one sport, basketball, which takes a lot out of you, and then go right into the spring to do baseball. He won 17 Catholic championships in baseball. He won 1,700 games. That's remarkable. And for a program that, you know, people think that Molloy's just basketball, as Kenny Anderson, as Kenny Smith, as those guys, but he was a great baseball coach. He was a former baseball minor league player for the Phillies and the Dodgers. If he had a bad back, he was why he didn't play. So, I mean, you know, it's unbelievable. 50 plus years to stay at one school, to coach so many different athletes, different times, different generations, different players, and, you know, not just players.
And through all those changes, cultural changes.
And people don't know, he was coaching. He wasn't, you know, even though he was elderly, but he wasn't sitting on the side just watching. He was up coaching. You would go to the baseball.
Because usually when someone gets that age, they're just sitting there collecting wins, but someone else is usually doing the coaching.
He was actually coaching. You know, up and coaching. You watch him in practice, it's like you look, you know, in awe.
He wasn't a yeller, wasn't screaming, but I tell you, if he had a word, he'll ride those referees. I mean, he'll say, you know, he'll give you a look like, oh, what are you doing? So he knows how to play the game, but he doesn't have to scream and yell to get his point across.
Right.
He's a guy who knew how to talk to, you know, the student athlete and made it work.
Well, you said he had Kenny Anderson?
Kenny Smith. You know, he had a lot of other players that just may have gone on to college, may have not have gone to the NBA, and the same thing on the baseball side. Right. So he was very successful.
Yeah, Jim Larranaga, who's coaching Miami, they won the ACC tournament and the regular season title. He was a player on them, and look at the influence he's had. I mean, you can see it over the weekend when Larranaga was interviewed by Curran. He was very sad about it. I mean, he made a big influence on him. So he's, you know, and Louis Carnesecca, who had the job at Molloy, left to go to St. John's, remarked on how great this guy was. So he's made an impact.
So that program will never, ever be the same again.
No, it can't be. It can't be. I mean, even if they win, it's still not going to really be the same. You know, when you think of Molloy, you think of Jack Curran. So whoever is going to be there it's going to take them a while, and the person is not going to be the baseball and basketball coach.
Jack Curran should be. If not, the push should now be he should go to the Hall of Fame, Basketball Hall of Fame. And I think you'll see that now as Kenny Anderson and those guys say, listen, look at the impact he's made in basketball. When you talk about Jack Curran, everybody knows who he is.
Let's switch, turn pages for a moment. Any other surprises as far as basketball this year, high school basketball, to you?
Well, I think it's just some of the players that I've seen. You know, you had even on Jefferson, you had the kid Rashad Moody, who really stepped up and played well, and nobody really knew who he was. But then at the Garden, I think he had 17 points and like 6 or 7 steals, so he did really well. You had a kid from JFK, Bashir Ahmed.
Oh, yeah.
I saw him, and it's like, you know, and people started talking, well, this kid may be the best kid in the city, and after seeing him a few times, I'm starting to kind of agree with that.
Are you surprised also the level of play that's coming out of Staten Island?
I think you'll see it more so. I think with Curtis leading the way, Hassan Martin going to Rhode Island in those schools, I think you're going to see the local schools like LIU and those schools going to see more New York City kids. Wings has Jaquan Brown, who's a very good player. He's not recruited. These are guys who are going to help these programs win right away. And I think you're going to see in the next few years, these programs look more and more to not just the top schools, but a lot of schools around the city and look for talent. There's available talent around here.
And St. Francis is known for recruiting kids. Right.
Well, they should, and even in the A division. I mean, the kid Osa from McKee. He's a beast. You know, you watch that guy.
Real quick, Coach of the Year again. Coach of the Year.
Tiny Morton.
Tiny and Ed Grzinski.
You surprised me.
Tiny Morton and Ed Grzinski.
All right.
There's no doubt.
Watch this and other Brooklyn Independent Television episodes online at breakartsmedia.org/BIT.